In an unprecedented move, Russia has begun using an airbase in Iran to conduct bombing missions over Syria. The Russian Defense Ministry says its long-range bombers have carried out airstrikes against Daesh from the west of Iran at the Hamadan airbase. It's thought to be the first time Russian military aircraft have been deployed from Iranian soil in half a century. Julia Lyubova has the latest from Moscow.
Russia's defense ministry said that Moscow has deployed Russian bombers to an Iranian airbase to widen its campaign in Syria. But these bombers have already targeted militant targets in Syria. Well, Russia's defense ministry says that those are Tupolev 22 M3 long-range bombers and Sukhoi 34 fighter bombers, and they were launched from a Hamadan airbase in Iran. Well, according to reports, it's cheaper and quicker to fly them from Hamadan. This could reduce flying time by 60% and also could allow to increase the load on the plane. Before this, Russia was flying these bombers from its base in North Ossetia because its base in Latakia in Syria is not big enough for them. But flying time, the distance to Palmyra from North Ossetia is around 2,000 kilometers, whereas this distance to Palmyra from Hamadan is around 900 kilometers. But certainly, Russia and Iran share similar goals in Syria, and they are allies in the region. And both Russia and Iran are part of the same coalition fighting Daesh in Syria. And this use of an Iranian airbase in Hamadan could have been discussed during a meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Iranian President Rouhani at their meeting in Baku earlier this month. And military cooperation between Russia and Iran is on the increase, with Moscow finally starting to supply S-300 missile systems to Iran earlier this year in May.
Well, the U.S. State Department says it's assessing the Russian move. Kilmeny Duchardt has reaction from Washington, D.C.
The State Department has said it is still trying to determine what Russia is doing exactly and to what extent. We know that Russia did notify the U.S. a short time before it used Iran's airbase. They're not sure if this was a one-off or whether it will become a regular component in the cooperation between the two countries. But the U.S. says that the move doesn't help with the stalemate in Aleppo. It doesn't help create a path for civilians to get the help that they need. What it does do is make it more difficult to reach a nationwide cessation of hostilities and an eventual political solution in Syria.
It's unfortunate, but not surprising or unexpected. And I think it speaks to the continuation of a pattern that we've seen of Russia continuing to carry out airstrikes, and now it appears with Iran's direct assistance.
The U.S. has maintained all along that Russia's aerial campaign in Syria has been focused more on propping up the Assad regime by taking territory held by opposition groups throughout Syria rather than focusing on the fight against Daesh. But now the State Department has suggested that Russia may be in violation of a UN Security Council resolution that prohibits the supply or sale of combat aircraft to Iran. There are reports that Russia recently supplied Iran with its S-300 missile air defense system. If that is true, the State Department said the repercussions would be handled at the UN Security Council level if it is in fact proven.
Well, on the ground in Aleppo, activists say more than 300 civilians have been killed in the past 15 days. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, 76 of those were children. Fierce fighting is continuing as rebels attempt to secure a vital supply route into their strongholds within the city. The International Committee of the Red Cross says the battle is one of the worst in the 5.5 years of war there.